Hi guys and good evening. I've been receiving a number of messages on Facebook and also on Messenger about issues relating to SSC examinations. So therefore I thought I will go live and try to clarify a few issues. But let me make it very clear right at the beginning. It's not going to be an interactive process because of my bad eyesight. And secondly, this is only the second time that I'm going live. Therefore, there may be a few hiccups, technical as well as otherwise. Any recruiting organization, including in the government sector, has basically three major responsibilities. Number one, in consultation with the departments for which recruitment is being made, they have to devise an examination system which is easy to understand and also easy to administer. I am not going into the issue of examination system adopted by the SSC in the last 5 years. There are several issues relating to it. Maybe I will go live again sometime later on the issues. I also have a few suggestions to make to the SSC and the government about the examination pattern that can be followed, taking into account the difficulties that SSC has had in the last 5 years or so since I left the SSC. The second major responsibility of any recruiting organization is to actually administer the examinations efficiently, sincerely, and honestly, ensuring equity for each and every candidate who takes the examination, and also go about the post-examination work in a professional manner, ensuring utmost transparency in the process. And the third responsibility is to ensure that they bring out the result as per the schedule and also ensure that the candidates get jobs within a short span. It is left to those who are at the helm of affairs in the SSC to decide for themselves how well they have acquitted themselves in the last few years or few months of their stay in the SSC. It's an introspection that they have to make. But all I can say is that there is widespread dissent and dissension amongst the SSC aspirants. They do believe that things are being unnecessarily delayed. It's going to be a major issue, I believe, in the 2019 elections also, unless corrective measure is taken by the India government and also the SSC to ensure that the results are brought out in time. Let me now say that SSC is not a professional organization. It is occupied by civil servants from the top to the bottom, whereas an organization like the IBPS has several well-qualified psychometricians. Psychometry is the science of measurement of intelligence. They have a large number of PhDs, professors, and the institution also is recognized as a research institution by a university in Mumbai. They have manpower well equipped to handle the work. But unfortunately, SSC does not have that kind of ability. Therefore, it has to depend on vendors or outsource supervisors, invigilators, etc. So therefore, in the SSC, there are bound to be minor hiccups here and there. But the issue is whether the minor hiccups have been allowed to develop into major hiccups in the last 4 to 5 years since I left the SSC. It's not that we did not have any problems. During the 4 years I was at the helm of affairs, we did have a few problems, but we localized the issues and ensured that the problems were sorted out well within time. I would like to remind the Staff Selection Commission that the examination scheme was revised in 2009 with the approval of the then Prime Minister, with the major objective of ensuring that in a single stage examination, the results were brought out in 6 months' time. And in two-stage examination process, the results were brought out in 9 months. and in multiple stage examination process like the combined graduate level examination, etc., within 12 months. And it's a matter of record that we ensured declaration of the results within the time limit we set for ourselves, which was also taken cognizance of by the government. There are several major issues relating to the conduct of the examinations. And as I said, it is inevitable that there are bound to be hiccups. But the major issues that have been faced by the candidates since April 2013 are frequent cancellation of the examinations, frequent postponement of the examinations, not conducting the examination as per the schedule, and taking arbitrary decisions, sometimes sacrificing transparency in the process. At one point of time, SSC stopped displaying the marks of the candidates, all the candidates on the website, and it took an agitation from thousands of candidates to ensure that the system which was prevalent before March 2013 was reintroduced. However, to come to specifics about the examinations which have been currently facing problem, the first and foremost is the combined graduate level examination 2016. The examination process has been conducted. How well it was conducted is a matter of judgment of the SSC aspirants. Nevertheless, the process had been completed, and several months before, over 10,000 candidates have been declared successful. And their families would have earned approximately rupees 600 crores per month if they had all been provided appointment. Unfortunately, there have been court cases. The court cases are not on major issues as far as the combined graduate level examination 2016 are concerned. The SSC could have given an undertaking in the court that the final decision of the court will be complied with, subject to the right of appeal, and SSC could have ensured that the selected candidates were offered appointment. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened. The principles involved are supported by me too. The SSC is right in saying that when whatever was included in the notice of the examination should be sacrosanct, which had been held by several courts, including by the Supreme Court, not only in the case of SSC, but also in the case of other recruiting bodies, including the UPSC. But the issue is that principles sometimes will have to be deferred for a final decision by the court, and action could have been taken by the SSC to provide jobs, much needed jobs, to the 10,500 and odd candidates. These candidates and their families are suffering. SSC has to understand that huge investment has been made by the candidates and their families in terms of time and also resources in preparing for the examination and getting selected on sheer merit. The candidates are disillusioned. The SSC has not even gone on appeal to the High Court yet against the CAT decision. Whether the CAT decision was right or wrong, it is not for me to say. It is for the High Court to take a view on it. But unfortunately, there has been considerable delay. Somebody remarked to me in a message on Facebook that the SSC is saving something like 500 to 600 crores for the government by way of non-planned expenditure. That's a myopic way of looking at things. The fact of the matter is, examination is conducted by a recruiting agency only for selecting suitable candidates for each and every post which is included in the examination, not for fighting it out in the courts. We also faced several court cases between 2009 and 2013, but every time an undertaking was given to the court on behalf of the commission that the final orders of the court will be complied with, and permission was sought and obtained from the courts for proceeding with the selection process or for ensuring that appointment was given. Even if it meant accommodating about 50 to 100 candidates who had succeeded in the CAT case and therefore have to be included it is not impossible for SSC to find additional vacancies. After all, it is proven that about 70 to 75% of the vacancies which are included for an examination are only filled up, because many candidates do not join because they do not get appointments in states or places of their choice. I would very strongly urge the SSC not to stand on principles or ego. I do admit that the principles for which SSC fighting in this particular case is has to be fought, but not at the expense or not at the cost of the huge number of candidates and the families. I hope somebody in the DOPT or in the Prime Minister's office takes note of this and ensure that the matter is resolved either in the court or outside the court. And once again, it is not impossible to get a stay order from the High Court of the stay of the High Court of the order of CAT, which had favored a few candidates. There is the Combined Graduate Level Examination 2017, which has been facing problem. At least twice, Tier 2 has been postponed. Once again, not for the fault of any candidate. A group of candidates have gone to the court seeking normalization or equalization. What SSC has to understand is that organizations like the IBPS and earlier the railway recruitment boards and also a host of others have been doing normalization, especially in a regime of online testing. Because in the case of offline testing, there is limited number of sessions, but unfortunately it is not so in the case of online examination for large number of candidates, such as 38 lakhs or 35 lakhs or even 40 lakhs in the case of combined graduate level examination. So therefore, normalization is a must. The candidates are fighting for the right principle in my view. Once again, I would like to remind those in the SSC that approval was taken from the DOPT for following a particular method of normalization or equalization, except that we felt on the basis of statistical data available with us that there was no need for going in for normalization. There is a method approved by the government already in the kitty of SSC, and there are organizations which can help SSC in normalizing the scores. And let me say that there is no shame in revising the result based on the demands of the candidates if the demands are well founded and backed by data. And I do believe that in the case of online examinations for a very large number of candidates, whether it is the CGL or the CHSL or even for the MTS, it is necessary to have normalization. And there are organizations which will do the work at a pittance, including the Institute of Banking Personnel Selection. I do not know whether there is any interaction between the IBPS and the SSC. And SSC should explore the possibility of normalization at the earliest. Otherwise, the very issues of transparency and lack of bias on the part of SSC, in my view, are being compromised. Combined Graduate Level Examination 2018 is another major issue. It doesn't even find a place in the 2018 calendar. What the SSC has in mind is not known. And let me also remind the SSC that nothing depends on the tenure of the chairman of the commission. He may or may not continue after the middle of 2018, but the SSC will continue to remain even beyond that. Therefore, they have to give serious thought to the conduct of the 2018 CGL. If they defer the examination and have it only in 2019, it will be denying millions of candidates of the opportunity of trying to look for a job in the government through the SSC after once again spending considerable time and resources in preparation. I would very strongly urge the PMO, DOPT, and also the SSC to include CGL 2018 in the current year's calendar, irrespective of what happens to the 2017 examination, for the reason that vacancies are decided by each department for each calendar year. And of course, with the approval of the government, the vacancies can be shifted from one year to the other. If the CGL 2018 is not held during the second half of 2018 and early 2019, I am afraid that it's going to send a very wrong message to the candidates population, who I would also like to remind everyone is also a voter, a very valuable thing in a democracy. There are many other issues. CHSL 2017. Unfortunately, the date of reckoning of the age has been given as 1st August 2018. I believe that it was a mistake. It was a printing error, but it doesn't appear to be so. And the SSC has to look at it and revise the date of reckoning. Why deny millions of candidates the opportunity of fighting for a few thousands of vacancies? If they have faith in their ability to compete with millions of candidates for a few thousands of vacancies, why should we stand in the way? After all, I understand that the SSC has asked for a budget of something over 900 crores, rupees 900 crores. Let me remind everyone, for the next financial year 2018-19. For what? For conducting the examinations and deferring the results of various stages or deferring the conduct of various stages. Money is sought. It is taxpayers' money. Each and everyone is paying tax. I also pay tax. And the taxpayer has every right to demand that the money that he is contributing to SSC is well spent and also produces employment to thousands of candidates. There are many other major issues, mostly relating to the post-examination work. Whatever systematic work was done in the year 2010 to 2013 was all set aside arbitrarily in the years 2013 to 2015, unfortunately. And therefore, there was a free for all. All checks and balances, both internal as well as external, were forgotten by the SSC. The confidential work manual, which was drafted by us after a lot of work and was also put in place in 2012, was arbitrarily scrapped sometime in 2013. Possibly because the then commission did not want to go through lengthy manuals. And we all know what happened after that. I would very strongly like to urge the SSC to bring back the confidential works manual, of course, with changes to provide for online examination, etc. What happened in the combined graduate level examinations, or what has been happening in the CHL online typing test or data entry test, and there are several cases relating to them in various courts of law, including CAT benches, all arose because of a lack of internal checks and balances. It is not possible to cover the entire gamut of SSC issues in one sitting, but I do hope that the candidates get some solace and comfort from whatever I am saying. Many candidates selected in the 2016 CGL asked me what they ought to be doing. Many of them had missed the bus when several candidates had formed a small group to get impleaded as an interested party in the CAT principal bench, New Delhi, and fight for posts for which they have legitimate claim. After all, they are finally selected. But most candidates, several thousands of candidates did not join them. And I had also suggested that thousands of representations, similarly worded possibly, should be sent to the Prime Minister's office, DOPT, and also the SSC. And I don't think even a few hundred representations have gone. Now, let me tell you, in a democracy, you have to fight for your rights. Nobody gives you the rights on a plate. Just keep that in mind. Either in groups or individuals, you have to fight. Whether it is under one particular group or several groups is for the others. I would also like to urge the SSC that in case the candidates fight for their rights, fight for legitimate postings after selection, they should not be vindictive towards them. There is no shame in losing out to the candidates. I have often said that I have revised policies and changed policies because of feedback from the candidates. I have revised results in a day or two after their declaration because of representations from the candidates. Several frauds were detected because of representation of candidates on Twitter. There is no shame in admitting that something had gone wrong. It requires a very large heart to admit that something wrong had happened during one's tenure, but you get applauded if you do that. And let me tell you, friends in the SSC, that you shall not be criticized. As far as the 2017 combined graduate level examination is concerned, there is very little that you can do except that SSC will wait for the court verdict and again go in for appeal, etc., etc. So the only thing that all of us can do is to appeal to the good senses of the SSC to go in for normalization. When 50 or 60 sessions or even more are held to accommodate all the candidates, it's impossible to maintain the same standard in the question papers, especially in the methodology which is followed by the vendor. I would have liked a large pool of questions, maybe 10,000 or maybe 20,000, and questions being assigned to candidates on a random basis, in which case there was no fraud. One actually gentleman who represents a very popular Facebook page, of course they call me a hypocrite 2 years before. I don't know what for. They are hypocrites because the gentleman actually did not comment on my post on FB when I said that I would go live. He came through a personal message and asked when there is information, possibly because I have no personal knowledge, that something amiss had happened, why SSC is not looking into it. If a large reservoir of question bank had been used and questions were assigned on random basis to the candidates, I am quite sure that all these complaints will not arise in future. And CHSL 2017, I would very strongly urge the SSC to have a relook at the date of reckoning of the age. Finally, court cases are important because they establish principles. But when court cases are fought by the SSC, or for that matter any government organization, you have to keep in mind the welfare of the large number of candidates and always tell the court that you want to go ahead and their orders will be followed subject to the right of appeal, which any individual or any body, including a government body like the SSC, has as per the Constitution. Thanks a lot, guys, and all the best. I hope whatever inputs I have given are to your liking, and I do wish and hope that your issues get resolved. Good night.